Welcome to this Object 268v4 replay, and Object 268 here is being played by Black Goldsaw, and he's platooned up with Arkel in the same tank, and they've got quite a mission ahead of them here on Arctic region. Now, I've got Object 268v4 as well, and I really don't know what Wargaming is thinking with all these new Russian tanks, especially in the latest patch. This replay will feature two replays of two new tanks. One of them is this one, and the other one is the IS-2M. Both of them played by Black Goldsaw, and you'll see what I mean. But this thing, I mean, look at the speed. It goes 50 kilometers an hour easily. It's got absolutely idiotic frontal armor. I mean, it's really hard to penetrate it with standard ammo. And even with heat, you'll struggle, especially if it's in a semi-hull down position where it doesn't expose the lower front plate. It's just stupid. The only drawback this TD has is that it turns like the Titanic on a gravel beach. Otherwise, it has no drawbacks. It's got really good armor. Even on the, on the sides and the rear, you stand a good chance of bouncing because it's got so many stupid angles. And this kind of stuff, look how fast it goes backwards as well. I mean, it goes forward fast, it goes backwards fast, and it turns slow, and it has a slightly slowish DPM, but that's completely irrelevant to DPM if people can't normally damage you. And I mean, Arkel did something stupid here, so he gets damaged because he played a little bit stupid. But if he played with a brain, he would receive no damage. I mean, look at people bouncing off. And this replay was from I think a couple of days after the patch was released, so people don't know exactly where to shoot, but it doesn't really matter. Unless you shoot heat in the lower front plate, you stand a good chance of bouncing. And I mean, the Guerrilla 15 was a problem with its really good gun and its good mobility, and then what does Wargaming do? They do make a Guerrilla 15 that has really good frontal armor, because that will somehow magically fix the situation. And it's just stupid. I mean, why? Why are they so insisting on just making this game so stupid? It's not making the game better in any way. This is just one of these machines that everyone will convert free XP for, because that's the purpose. That's why these things are completely overpowered. It's to get people to convert free XP, to give Wargaming some more money, and then after most of the people have done that, they'll nerf it back to normal levels. Because that's what they always do. They've done it with the T110E5, they've done it with the mouse, and now they're doing it with this one. And as well, the new Russian mediums are just stupid as well. I mean, it's so bad and short-sighted of Wargaming to do this stuff every time just for some financial gain, because they're undermining their own credibility by balancing like this. And now Arkel and Black are actually in the cap. They're just waiting, because there's a 268 on the right. Tries to shoot the view range. That's another tiny weak spot of this thing. The view range, or the view device on top of the tank. Otherwise, this thing hasn't got any viable weak spots. And yeah, I mean, Black is just going to be very aggressive this match now, because his team is actually somehow also struggling to kill 1268 V4 there, which says enough. So Black just goes to the side and just keeps pumping damage inside, and the 268 actually shoots Black, because I guess two mediums in front of him are not enough worry. So yeah, Black is a little bit in the crossfire here, but he needs to put pressure on these guys as well, because they're trying to decap. Bounces a shot on the side from the enemy 268. But yeah, it just keeps the pressure up. It's actually quite interesting. He's bounced 2.9 K so far. And I mean, I've played this tank myself as well, and I bounce more damage in it than I do in my super heavies. It's just stupid. I mean, this thing has got way too much mobility for the armor it has. Also, with the gun, is actually pretty reliable for nice little snapshots. That one somehow bounces. But yeah, the all-round package of this TD is just bad. I mean, it's a great machine, but it's bad for the game balancing in general. It's just stupid that these tanks are released. And now Wargaming on the blogs as well, one of the balancers said that the the feedback is mixed on this tank, and it might actually be buffed. And really, I struggle to comprehend how someone can say that with a straight face. I mean, that's just blatantly lying to your audience through your teeth, because it doesn't need a buff. It needs a nerf, and it needs a nerf either in mobility or in the armor. You can't have super mobility with great armor and a good gun. That's not how you balance stuff. Tanks are balanced when 2 out of the 3 areas that they can be balanced in are good and the other one isn't. So you've got armor, you've got mobility, and you've got gun. A tank is balanced when it's got 2 of those. It's broken if it's got 3 of those. And this tank has got all 3 of them, so it's broken. It needs to be properly balanced. I mean, again, just keep balancing here. It's AP that they're firing, because at the time people don't know exactly where to shoot. Well, there's very little you can shoot at, but even with heat, they'll be struggling to pen this. And I mean, just look at it mount up. It's just stupid. This thing has got more effective armor than an E100, and an E100 is a heavy tank. Oh, it just beggars belief how they can just willingly break the game like this. And now it's just a slugging match, and finally Black also decides to finally load his heat ammo to actually start going through, because he's not going to pan the E100 either, or will struggle to pan him, because his gun, the only thing, yeah, okay, it can't snipe super long ranges, this gun, but this is not super long range. So yeah, finally Black gets taken, Arkal gets taken out, Black reverses, T57 donks a shot, then what? Kills his teammate. So yeah, that's looking good. So yeah, well done T57 heavy. And now Black is going to be pretty aggressive to try and take this guy out. And there we go. So taken out. He's got heat loaded still. There's a medium behind him. And now he just turns around, because he's got more than enough HP to catch at least one shot. He's still got the heat loaded. The medium tries to get away. But yeah, as you can see, the tank turns relatively slow, but he gets tracked in the correct position and then manages to take him out. So yeah, that was the match. Let's take a look at the results and then go into the second one. So there we go, results of this match. Ace tanker obviously, but also a steel wall and a high caliber. Black also managed to do 8.2k damage for a combined total XP of 1392. He was one of the last 2 alive, and he did quite a lot more than the rest of his team. Enemy team, the Object 430U, did quite a lot of damage as well, and the 268v3. So yeah, it's quite obvious which ones are the balanced tanks in this match, definitely. 21 shots fired, 17 hits, 15 pens, blocked 6.8k damage in a TD. I mean, this is a respectable number in a tier 10 heavy tank. I mean, what the fuck. So anyway, he had to shoot some heat, so he made a loss, which is not surprising. I mean, tier 10 doesn't make credits, but still, I mean, if you look at the combined package of this tank, Wargaming keeps amazing with the stupid balancing. Definitely they do. So yeah, let's take a look at the second match. So here's the second match, and this is Black Godsaw in the IS-2M, and not just any IS-2M on Stalingrad, it's pretty much a stock IS-2M. He's got IS gun on this tank, so keep that in mind. He's shooting mostly AP, he's got a little bit of APCR and some HE, and granted, it's quite a good matchmaking. It's tier 8 maximum, but this is another one of these huge Wargaming brain farts, deliberate brain farts to make money obviously, but brain farts nonetheless in terms of balancing. This tank, if you angle it like this, the weakest point in the frontal armor is 205mm, and the maximum penetration that mediums have on this tier is 212. So not much leeway. So basically it's, to all intents and purposes, quite impenetrable frontally. I mean, it's got a relatively weak lower plate. I mean, Russian relative. So yeah, it's not really a weak lower plate at all. I mean, Germans have got weak lower plates. This is not a weak lower plate. Quite a nice... I think that was a full health ammo rack there. Or close to it. No, close to it. Someone else hit him as well. But yeah. Another one of these greatly balanced Russian tanks. And, I mean, it's still stock. And if you see what Black managed to pull off in this thing, in this match, yeah, you'll know what I mean. But, yeah, I'm working my way to this tank as well. I'm just casually grinding up the line. I have no real need to play this line. I don't know, but I don't know if it will be required for Clan Wars in the end to tier 10, so I'm grinding it nonetheless. I'm also grinding the French heavies, the new French heavies, and the what was it? The VK 100. Just grinding all the tier 7 heavies pretty much, and the Oni, because type 5 are now compulsory in Clan Wars as well, because they're so balanced. So yeah. Black, up until this point, still no damage received. So yeah, not doing too badly. IS there is trying to side scrape, but he stands absolutely zero chance against this tank. I mean, the Cupola could be weak. I haven't looked into that. Again, probably relatively weak. But this is the stock turret, so I think it is a stock turret anyhow. So that probably will get a lot smaller as well. And this thing is just, yeah, it's another one of these stupid Wargaming tanks that are just bad for the game. Because these things, because of their frontal arm, because of their any armor, they require very little skill to play even a little bit successful. The player base is already pretty stupid on average. I mean, it's pretty bad. And then Wargaming releases these kinds of tanks that require very little skill to play even a little bit successfully. It doesn't improve the player base, it doesn't improve the general gameplay at all. It just makes it worse for everyone, and that's really not what you want to do, because you want this game to succeed in the long run, and that means that it not only has to be entertaining, it also needs to remain interesting. And if the player base just gets stupider and stupider, they'll leave faster than if the play is rewarding and skill is rewarded. And Wargaming is doing everything in their power to make skill as the least rewarding as possible that they can get away with. I mean, I've been with this game since closed beta, and sure they've done some good things with it, definitely. I mean, they finally managed to actually sort of properly balance arty out after years and years and years. But the last 2 years, balancing wise, especially with the over-buffing of armor, it's going the wrong way. It really is. I mean, sure, it's some players might agree or might think that it's important that frontal armor has no weak spots, because otherwise what's the purpose of armor? But the point is, skilled play needs to win over armor. Because if armor always wins, what's the point in skill? There's no point in skill. You just point your front at the enemy and you won't be damaged and you win. What's the fun in that? There's no room for improvement. There's no skill in it. I mean, yeah, sure, arm angling requires some skill, but if you don't have weak spots, that doesn't matter. Because why? I mean, most new heavy tanks have got more flat armor or weak spots than same tier tanks have standard ammo penetration. I mean, a primary skill pupil can see that is not the way to properly balance a game. But sure, gameplay wise, that's not the proper way to balance a game. Of course, financially it is, and that's the only thing that Wargaming cares about. They don't really care about this game and how long it survives in the end. They care about maximizing their profit in the short term and damn the consequences, and that's their current balancing. And that will only get worse. The more people that use gold to free XP these tanks, it will only get worse for everyone. And sooner or later players will realize what this game is becoming, and they'll just stop playing. They'll just leave, because there's just no point. I mean, the guy with the thickest armor basically will win in the end. If this trend continues, you can already see it in the mouse and the Type 5. They can just rampage around the map, and unless you load heat, good luck trying to pen them. Good luck trying to fight them, even with skills. Most maps you can't viably flank. You drive all around the map to get behind a mouse or a Type 5. You fire one shot into their rear, they turn around, and you can go all around the map again to try and get the other side. That's not flanking. That is just running the timer down and giving all the advantages to the heavy tank. Because, yeah, you can try and brawl with him unless you've got premium ammo, good luck. And you can't viably flank him because it takes so long to get around the map with all these corridors that there's no real chance of you to fight on even remotely equal terms. But yeah, it's becoming more and more a sad story, especially the way that Wargaming also handles skill-based classes like light tanks. They're getting completely gimped. Their long-range firepower is getting nerfed and nerfed. They just don't want light tanks to use their range. They just want them to go and brawl with heavies, because that's what their guns are currently like. Tier 10 light tanks, good luck sniping with them with the KV2 levels of accuracy. I mean, they force a light tank with no armor, a class that's got its strengths in camo and view range. They force it to go brawl with heavies because you can't hit the broadside of a barn from long range. It's just stupid, and it's sad because I still really like this game, but more and more I like what it used to be rather than what Wargaming is turning it into for short-term profit. And it's just sad because a more respectful developer wouldn't be doing this to their own game just to get a little bit of extra cash in the short term out of it. They'd have their eyes on the long-term consequences of their decisions. Even tanks like the Defender. The Defender is the pinnacle of what's wrong with this game. It's got the IS-3, the tank that was pretty much considered the best all-round tier 8 heavy, has got 210-ish, 220 effective armor on the pike nose. The Defender, 330 on tier 8. That's IS-7 levels of armor on tier 8. A couple of years ago that would be unthinkable that a tank like that would even be in the game. And if it was, it would be going 5 kilometers an hour. Not anymore though, and it's got a really good gun as well, and it's got more gun depression than the IS-3, and maybe slightly less mobility, but that in most of the corridor maps that doesn't really make a difference. So that tank is the pinnacle of what's wrong with this game, and the bigger problem is that it's a premium tank, so it can't be nerfed. Wargaming is not selling it on the EU at the moment because they know it's fucked. But it can't be nerfed. If that was a regular tank, sure, you could at least nerf it back to normal levels, and that was a really nice Russian DAS snapshot again, obviously. So yeah, they're middle of my story, and Black's already carried this match to a successful end with 9 kills. So yeah, let's take a look at the results. There we are, the results. Ace tanker obviously, but also a Radley Walters medal for more than 8 kills, a Defender, a Steel Wool, High Caliber and a Top Gun in the stock IS-2M. Granted, good matchmaking, but still, 1706 base XP, that's really, really high. 5.3k damage done, sorry. Enemy WZ did quite well, he didn't manage to carry it in the end. But yeah, 5th match, and I mean, it's these kinds of tanks, are they good for the game? Not really, not really. He managed to block 1470 this match. I mean, yeah, lots of premium spell and a stock premium spam and a stock turret, but fully upgraded. That tank is an absolute beast. 21 shots fired, 17 hits, 17 pans with a stock gun. Pretty nice, pretty nice. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, I don't agree with this overimportance of armor in this game. not with the way that maps are currently designed, with their 3 corridors, and the rest of the map is basically a big dead zone that will get you killed very fast if you try to make use of it. It's short-sighted bad balancing for a game that really, really, really needs to put more emphasis on skill rather than just flat armor that people can't penetrate. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed these replays. I certainly did. I mean, it was really nice to watch them, and it's a good illustration of what's wrong with this game, or what's going wrong with this game. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did, feel free to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and see you guys next time.